Evening, everybody. Good evening. God, it's a late one, isn't it? And it's a hot one. But we couldn't go to bed without just talking over the latest bits and pieces from this bonkers world. But first of all, guys, can you please do us a favour? Just hit the subscribe button. Like you see, we're here at 10:45. I'm wanting to just really lie in a cold bath because I'm so hot. But
it's the hottest day of the year here in the UK for any of our American followers. What we do find at this time is that we get a lot more American followers. We are talking about Donald Trump. We are also touching upon Gaza too. We've been talking a lot. Really, the Gaza news has been kind of hijacked by the really quite fraudulent fuss around Glastonbury, the focus-pulling fuss of Glastonbury. But we are going to be talking about another atrocity that has occurred in the last 12 to 24 hours, which is just yet more evidence of how taking down or targeting a rapper is just so horrendously inappropriate. So we're going to be talking about that. We have also got the fan on at the floor, so if you can hear a hum, that's that. But we are also going to be talking about Trump. There's a lot of Trump news today. A lot of Trump news.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to the point now where it's so insane. It has echoes of every dictator you've ever heard of. It's almost like he's watched a mega series of all the top dictators through history, and he's just doing a sprinkling of each one. Shocking.
Yeah, and I have also seen that, Reese. The Diddy trial, they have a partial verdict. Am I right in thinking they haven't made the partial verdict public yet? They can't give you all the verdicts until all the verdicts are through. They're still deciding on one other.
It's a relatively short trial, really.
It is really when
complicated.
Well, maybe it isn't that complicated.
Maybe it's not. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should start with. We're going to start with the story revolving around this awful attack in Gaza. Do bear with me a second. I'm just finding. God, I've lost the story.
This was a cafe.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Beyond anything imaginable. Dozens killed at a busy Gaza seafront. The Al-Baka Cafe, which apparently is like, it was founded 40 years ago. It's family run. It's one of the sort of few permanent reminders of an old Gaza, isn't it?
Well, that would have to go, wouldn't it? Because they're ethnically cleansing it and wiping out the very essence in every way that they can. And I am telling you, I have seen today the most horrifying videos of children, people, literally lumps out their body. So when you hear the numbers of how many have died, like I said this morning on Coffee Moaning, rest assured there will be so many that are yet to die over the next couple of days, because there's no real hospital standing fully active. So true atrocity, and the same old line pumped out Hamas. This was a Hamas. I mean, police. I don't know why they even bother to give out these statements now, because we know what they're going to say. Yeah, at the time of October 7th, there was estimated 30,000 Hamas. I don't know this. This is what I've had. I cannot say anything about those numbers.
But when you look at images, when you look at the actual Google Map images of Gaza, to be brutally honest, there was a lot of Hamas hiding in a lot of houses.
Every single house, every single hospital, every single school, every single university, every single corner, they were there, apparently, because that's why it's flattened.
Can I just ask a question, though? I'm beginning to find it an ever more fascinating, grisly horror story watching any Israeli spokesperson or lobby group come onto any show now. There's almost a tipping point now where I'm watching it a little bit like when you go to Madame Tussauds or a waxworks, and you're not looking at the waxwork because of how brilliantly it matches the person it's a portrait of. You're looking at it because you think this is a horrific contortion of something I recognize. And I feel that with every single, supercilious Israeli spokesperson that comes on the television, or any government minister.
The Israeli ambassador is an embarrassment. She's truly an embarrassment. She cannot. He means in her soul, not in the way she looks. About people's looks, but she is
hideous personality.
She's just deeply unintelligent and inarticulate, and she just repeats this same brainwashed. I mean, there was I think it was a Sky News reporter today that was getting so frustrated.
I'm just showing
with her.
images of
he actually stopped at one point and just gave up and shook his head.
No, but that's my point. And so when they come on television, I look at them now. I have gone past a point. There's the fury. There's the belief you can argue with them. There's the belief you can rationalize with them. There's the hope that there's humanity in there. And then there's a kind of slow dawning realization that they're pig shit stupid. And they're
just going to keep repeating.
They haven't
they're
ever been
automatons.
asked a question in their lives. They've never been challenged. And you're not going to get anything intelligible from a humanistic perspective. So it is quite shocking and bizarre. But the reason they keep saying the Hamas thing is, the reason they keep saying it in this stupid, unimaginative way is because the Western media just drop that out.
Well, more and more presenters now, because they know they're looking stupid if they don't challenge. So it's getting more and more difficult.
So this is the aftermath. This is the aftermath. It was as beautiful as you can have. It was one of the few places that had patchy Wi-Fi at best, where you could at least go and have a coffee, and that's been destroyed. It's just it's just you know,
honestly,
again, you know, at least 36 people killed.
You can at least, because don't forget,
in that one incident,
the injuries that I saw today, and 4, 5, 6 children on one bed, so disoriented, so terrified. It honestly, I cried many times looking at videos today. It was too much, just too much. But still, we're banging on about Glastonbury. It's just breathtaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway,
in just slightly other news before we move on to Trump, I do want to talk about the fact that, unfortunately, you may have seen the High Court decided that the government can continue to essentially sell parts to the F-35. They're not breaking any.
They're being used to devastate Gaza.
Yeah. So, but this is a great piece here by Declassified UK that you sent through earlier today, Nats. UK, this is just interesting. Just bear with me on this. UK withheld evidence from court in Israel arms export case. So the government won this case. So judges have ruled that Britain's decision to allow F-35 fighter jet parts to be sent to Israel was lawful, despite concerns about violations of international humanitarian law. The case, which was brought by Palestinian human rights group Al-Haq, has exposed how the UK government conceals its own evidence of Israeli war crimes in Gaza. And this is the case you may have seen. Juliet Stevenson has been a very outspoken activist surrounding this, lots of publicity around that. The RAF has been sending spy flights. This is so shocking when I read this. The RAF has been sending spy flights, we know that, over Gaza to gather intelligence for Israel since December 2023. Collecting thousands of hours of footage, which likely involves evidence of atrocities. Just pause and think about that for a minute. That means we own the proof. We probably own, the RAF probably own the proof of war crimes being conducted.
It'd be great to get a whistleblower like they did in the Israeli army. Let's have a whistleblower from the RAF, somebody with real conscience.
But the Foreign Office team, which reviews Israel's compliance with international law, has not reviewed or even requested the spy footage. The Ministry of Defense is refusing to say how the footage is stored and whether any of it has been deleted, destroyed, or lost.
So they're not accountable then?
No. Instead of using RAF surveillance footage, the Foreign Office contracted a third-party organization named the Center for Information Resilience to provide analysis on Israel's war conduct in Gaza. But get this. This organization's main funders include the US and UK governments, and its co-founder once worked in the British Embassy in Tel Aviv. The Foreign Office admitted in court it had reviewed over 400 incidents in Gaza, but found only one attack to be a possible breach of international law.
Okay, so the one, where's the one?
The one was the World Central Kitchen Convoy, which killed 7 international aid workers.
That's the only one.
The only one.
Because there were 3 Britons in it. Is that
funny
why?
Funny that. And the other 412 were judged to be inconclusive. The UK government also refused to submit a research report on long-range shootings or shootings of minors, children, to the court despite a duty to disclose it.
Right now.
Wow.
Right now. Let's think about all the doctors.
Active concealment.
Let's just pause for a second and think of all the doctors that we have seen submit reports, have spoken on news channels, have written letters to leaders talking about these children coming in one after another with
Sniper
to the
bullets.
head, to the heart. So there's lots of people that have evidence on that, but they're saying that that would have had to have been seen by the planes. Is that what we're talking about? They're not saying that didn't happen. They're just saying that through their surveillance.
They're not even making the files viewable, even though they've been asked to submit them.
So why has the judge accepted that?
It's astonishing. I don't know.
Weird.
Reese Roberts, the question is, though, would there be sufficient protections in place for a whistleblower in today's climate? You look at Palestine Action. I can see governments, etc., leaving him or her out to dry.
What do you think that means, guys? Why do you think the judge wouldn't have? I mean, there is a full. We haven't had time to read it because we found this late, but there's a full report on this on Declassified.
I mean, one of the things I have read somewhere, which is along the lines of ultimately the decision sits with government. I think the judge, I think the court kind of just batted it back and said this is a decision for government.
Do you think they could have been told, listen, for safety of the world, you mustn't? Could there be something like that goes around the back in a court? You know, could there be?
I don't know.
We just
Possibly,
don't know, do we?
possibly.
But that's not going to go away, is it? That's going to be very interesting. We'll have to read that report.
Exactly.
Come back to you.
So let's moving over towards Trump in America. This is just, well, Nadia, as you summed it up just a minute ago, he's clearly envious of Kim Jong-un.
Can we start with the alligator prison?
Right. Okay. Let me show you some. I'm going to show you an image that was officially posted on the White House Instagram account.
Officially posted.
It's an image, for those of you listening, of Donald Trump with his extraordinarily long red tie. Underneath the sign, Alligator Alcatraz, with 3 alligators next to him with ice baseball caps on.
It's the most disgusting thing you've ever
This
seen.
is on the official White House.
Official White House.
Right. What is Alligator Alcatraz? It's a former, once built airport that's going to be used as a detention center. And today, President Donald J. Trump, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem,
oh, she is a piece of
and
work,
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons toured Florida's new temporary detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz to many. It's got 3,000 beds, and its unique USP is that if anyone escapes, Donald Trump tries to escape, Donald Trump's very proudly said, we don't even have to pay the alligators to keep guard. What was his advice to anyone running away?
So then he went into doing zigzag running because
Yeah,
that's the way you're advised to run away from an alligator. But he'll still get you. But that's the way to run. It's such a joke, isn't it? So funny, isn't it? So you know, the amount of videos that we've all seen of people being dragged from their home. Oh my God!
So these are some of the images. So these are some of the images. So all the footage that we see of those poor innocent people being dragged off by people in masks, they're going to end up in this place. This is one of the detention centers where they'll go.
Oh God, it's petrifying.
And look at it. I mean, it's like,
look at her cosplaying again.
Cosplaying.
Oh, the way she dresses up.
What does this remind you of? That's currently on TV that we're watching. Squid Games. It is Squid Games. It's the dormitories.
Squid Games in Israel.
Yeah. Squid Games everywhere. This is one of the alligators. That's an, I mean, the alligator should be demanding at least minimum pay. They're there to guard. This is like the, because his idea is he's got very excited, hasn't he, about relaunching Alcatraz in San Francisco, guarded by sharks.
He must have watched the film a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But
there is another image of him there. Yeah,
and there she is, dressed up.
Did you hear what he said about her? He knew she was a great. What's her name?
No. So he was. So it's DeSantis, isn't it? Is the mayor? It's the guy in charge,
Florida
governor, and who he hated a while ago. But 9.5 out of 10 friends now. He said 9.5.
That's bigly. That's bigly friendship.
Anyway, so they were all giggling away about the alligators and how the alligators will catch them. You know what? You feel that they want people to run because they want them to be caught by the alligator. It's going to be alligator games.
Yeah.
It's literally going to be alligator games. He was gleeful about all of this. So he was talking about how, is it Nancy Neon?
Yeah. Christy Gnome.
Christy Gnome.
As in a gnome, a garden gnome.
But the person that had advised...
Are you going to say this? No, say it, go on.
So a guy called Tom Homan, maybe he's important, Trump's border czar, recommended Miss Gnome for the job. But Mr. Trump records saying, "Oh, you're kidding? She's great, but she's a fine, elegant person. Sir, she's as tough as hell," says Mr. Honan. But in a very nice, Trump goes on to say, but in a very nice way.
In a very nice way.
In a very nice way. Because she's a crazy ass, brilliant horse rider.
He basically said she rode a horse like a rodeo star.
So she's elegant. She's elegant, which all women must be elegant.
Well,
so that
the
can
rodeo
win you.
isn't elegant.
No. But at the same time, she's rough on the radio. What are we thinking here?
Rodeo.
Think of the oldest, most sexist thing ever.
Cowgirls.
No.
What are you talking about?
You know, it's all that barefoot and pregnant, a whore in the bedroom, a thingy in the kitchen.
Oh,
it's all that sort of.
What was that famous film? The biggest
stuff.
Whorehouse in the.
Something like not that.
No. There's a famous film, and it's set in Nevada, and it's the famous whorehouse.
Yeah, but it's all like, she's elegant, but she's tough. She can ride a horse. She can ride a horse. You know what? Do you know what I mean?
There she is.
So those are all great credentials to be Homeland Security.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen her in any of these?
Yes.
You know, when they're really questioning them in the Senate. Oh my God, it's
look,
so embarrassing. She doesn't know the
there.
answer to anything.
That's her on the right, on the very far right there. She's always standing with a sort of head
all
up.
Those awful shots she did posing in front of those poor men locked in that forever prison.
Well,
she gets turned on by it, I'm sure.
She does, and she also testified about the fact that the kind of people they're going to put in these detention centres.
Oh, wait for this.
And she gave us.
Have you got the video?
Well, let's find. I haven't got the video. No, I didn't get the.
Okay, so she's sitting there.
I've got her saying it. I've got the quote here where she talks about a can. Right. So Mrs. Gnome had plenty to say during this conference, and she recalled an apparent recent incident regarding an illegal migrant, hammering her point home about how this Everglades detention center was going to be able to hold deranged individuals.
Wait for it.
She said, "I was talking to some marshals that have been partnering with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and they told her about how they detained a cannibal, put him on a plane to take him home, and while they had him in his seat, he started to eat himself, and they had to get him off and get him medical attention." She said, "These are the kind of deranged individuals that are on our streets in America that we're trying to target and get out of our country." So hang on a minute. Oh my God. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating themselves.
Do you know what that was? It's probably some poor soul who was deranged with terror because he's been taken back to God. He's probably just trying to get out of the...
Yeah, he wasn't eating himself. He was just trying to eat his way round the handcuffs.
I always say if I was in a dire, horrendous situation, I don't know, kidnapped or whatever, and wanted to be thrown in some awful gulag, that I would. No, I'm not going to say what I say I'll do. It's terrible. No, forget that.
What are you talking about?
Story. No, I can't say it's something really awful.
What's happened?
No, don't. I keep thinking that's a fly and it's the man.
No, it's not. Okay, we're now going to talk about Musk because the most egregious, the most shocking, and the most frightening and terrifying news pivots around the New York City Democrat mayor. But before we go to what he said about Mamdani, we are just going to briefly just talk about Musk and Trump. Musk has once again gone on to X, and he's just savaged Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. He's threatened any of the senators, Republican senators, that vote for his bill. It's been passed, so he's got some targets. Any of those that have voted for it, he has guaranteed that he will start a new party called the America Party, Musk, and he will defeat any of the Republican senators who voted for the big, beautiful bill that he sees as literally about to tip America into financial Armageddon.
Do you know what I don't understand about that, though? It is all very confusing because I don't really know anything really about American politics. But this bill, the one thing I do know is that it's going to be absolutely brilliant for the rich because the tax that he'd promised all his donors, like this massive tax cut for the wealthy. So that would include Musk. But is it something to do with his cars?
Musk, yeah, there's all sorts of Musk.
What is he so pissed off about?
Musk is most pissed off about the fact that he was employed in Doge to make huge cost savings and cuts to reduce the national debt. And he says that this single-handedly, this one bill, given the amount of tax handouts it's going to give to everyone, I think baked into it is also the tips tax and all this kind of stuff. There's so much in there. There's more in there for rich people, but there's so much in there for everyone and everything that it's going to completely tip the American finances into an absolute sort of cesspit.
Apparently, it's an absolute disaster. This bill.
Yeah, and so and as a consequence, well, yeah, but it's the big beautiful bill, and you've all got to get behind it. So Donald Trump has got this bill through. Elon Musk and him have come to blows. We have the wonderful imagery of Musk sucker punching Trump on X. And now we have this again on the tarmac. So you have Donald Trump straining against the sound of his helicopter.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know Doge? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem, it blows up, So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
I'm going to give that one to Peter.
Sorry.
Oh, God.
He inadvertently, he's just unfortunately fucking funny. You don't want a hydrogen car. I mean, the thing is, if you think of a hydrogen car, you think it's going to blow up, don't you?
Oh, my good God.
So basically what he's saying is he might turn Doge.
Excuse me, he bought an electric car on the front of the White House lawn that we all had to applaud because he wanted us all to buy a fucking electric car.
Because he wanted to make Musk feel better because everyone was blowing up Musk.
Now he doesn't want a Musk car. He doesn't want anyone else to have a Musk car.
But the weird thing is...
He's too narcissistic.
No, but the weird thing is cannibalism is creeping in everywhere. Not only have we had a cannibal eating his own hands as an example of who will go to Alligator Alcatraz.
A desperate prisoner trying to escape.
We've now got an edifying image of Trump invoking Doge and saying that Doge may eat its own creator in the form of Elon Musk.
I mean, he just doesn't give a damn what people think about him, does he?
Oh, my God, it's just unheard of. Anyway, let's talk about the awful story of, so we've done Alligator, So the Trump administration is talking about the possibility, if you can believe this, of stripping Zoran Mamdani of his citizenship. And they're talking about the potential for arresting him if he in any way interferes with or obstructs ICE going about its business in New York.
Well, I listened to a full interview with him. First of all, he'd have to become mayor before he could do that anyway.
Yes, well, this is all hypothetical.
It's all so hypothetical. But no, it's not hypothetical that they could throw him out before he gets the chance to win mayorship.
No, exactly.
That's the thing that's
his
serious.
Citizenship is much more of a pressing issue than being arrested for ICE or, as Donald Trump, quite you're going to hear some quotes from Donald Trump in a minute. He talks about, I'm going to keep my eyes on him because he has to come here to get his money. So I think you're right. I think if he becomes mayor, and I think I have to say, New York generally goes Democrat. He's been confirmed as the winner of the primary.
He was very impressive in the interview I heard today with him.
I think the incumbent.
Oh, so sorry, Tony.
I think the incumbent mayor is in there too. Cuomo they say is possibly going to run as an independent. But let's assume that Mamdani wins and becomes New York mayor. Donald Trump is already signaling to him he's going to make his life fucking unbearable and hellish.
He's young, he's fit,
and
he's driven by with his moral clarity. He'll be all right.
But this is a piece in The Guardian, and they're reporting about the fact that the Trump administration has raised the possibility of stripping Zoran Mamdani of his U.S. citizenship as part of a crackdown against foreign-born citizens convicted of certain offences. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, appeared to pave the way for an investigation into Mamdani's status, listen to this, after a right-wing Republican congressman for Tennessee called Mamdani's citizenship to be revoked on the grounds that he may have concealed his support for terrorism during the naturalization process. So what we could be witnessing here is any support he's demonstrated or shown for Palestine could well be the thing that they decide means he was a supporter of terrorism that he concealed as he sought naturalization.
Because it could be something like going on a march or something like that, and he just hasn't said it in his naturalization.
It also comes after the Trump administration instructed attorneys to prioritize denaturalizing foreign-born US citizens who had committed specific crimes. So he's going after.
They really are scared of him.
They're going after everyone. They're going after everyone. But let's have a little listen to Donald Trump himself.
Beloved New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zoran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zoran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron.
President, you're...
Ron DeSantis, this is another quote.
It is a communist. I said there will never be socialism in the United States. Now we have a communist. I think he's bad news. And I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with him, watching him, because he has to come right to this building to get his money. And don't worry, he's not going to run away with anything. I think he's, frankly, I've heard he's a total nut job. I think the people of New York are crazy. If they go this route, I think they're crazy. We will have a communist for the first time, really, a pure, true communist. He wants to operate the grocery stores, the department stores. What about the people that are there? I think it's crazy.
He's a nut job.
The first person you looked after, the only person you didn't impose tariffs on, was your best little mate, bogey noses from the playground, Putin.
He's hardly a communist anymore, is he, Putin?
No, but you can't say, come on. He's a communist.
Well,
I mean, you can be kind to someone in Trump's world and be a fucking communist. He's still a communist.
Mamdani has posted this, which I think is
you can't say that America from now until when
will always consider Russian even the oligarchs.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, not the oligarchs. They like the oligarchs.
Well, Putin is a huge oligarchal leader.
No, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you're saying.
Don't split hairs.
I am splitting hairs.
God almighty.
Zoran Mamdani, he released this statement on Instagram, I believe. The president of the US just threatened to have me arrested, stripped of my citizenship, put in a detention camp and deported. Not because I've broken any law, but because I will refuse to let ICE terrorize our city. His statements don't just represent an attack on our democracy, but an attempt to send a message to every New Yorker who refuses to hide in the shadows. If you speak up, they will come for you.
I don't think you should have said that.
We will not accept this intimidation. That Trump included praise for Eric Adams and his who's the incumbent mayor, in his authoritarian threats is unsurprising, but highlights the urgency of bringing an end to this mayor's time in City Hall. At the very moment when MAGA Republicans are attempting to destroy the social safety net, kick millions of New Yorkers off of healthcare and enrich their billionaire donors at the expense of working families, it's a scandal that Eric Adams echoes this president's division, distraction, and hate. Voters will resoundingly reject it in November. How long ago did he post that?
It was just half. When I get sent it to you, it's 25 minutes.
Let me just check Truth Social, because he's a little bit kind of trigger happy on the old Truth Social.
But you know, he's incredibly brave. You know, he's had the death threats and all of that to him and his family. Because, I mean, AIPAC will not want him in, will they?
Oh, my God.
But you know what? The Democrats better bloody get behind him. One of their own is being threatened like that.
Oh, I love this. Jerome Powell, who's head of the Federal Reserve, said, yeah, we would have cut interest rates by now if it weren't for Trump's tariffs. You know, Donald
Who's
Trump's,
the Fed? What does Federal Reserve?
he's the head of the American bank, basically.
Right.
He's like the head of the Bank of England. Well, anyway,
Oh,
no,
right.
but
Head
Trump's
of
been at him for weeks saying reduce the interest rates, and he said, "I would have done if you hadn't fucking
they're the
introduced
ones
tariffs."
that don't get on so well.
So there you go. I mean, you know, basically what we're watching, or what we're witnessing, is the laying of the groundwork and the foundations for really quite an unconstitutional attempt to pull down the one possible answer that I think progressives in America feel they've got, which is, you know, Mamdani, this guy who's literally, he hasn't emerged from nowhere, but certainly from this side of it.
And you know, it was the bulwark that tripped him up with this thing about the international intifada, Mamdani. And it's just become now, it's been twisted.
What, they've dropped him in it?
He did not say, I believe in an international intifada, but of course, this is what's being picked up, is being put. And you know, the original intifada was peaceful protesting and BDS and all of that. So intifada actually means an uprising. That's what it literally means.
Yes.
And there's been some violent intifadas and some not. So he explained very well. He said, I don't want to get into saying I don't want to fall into the same trap as Trump, where I'm just saying this word is banned and this, you know, I thought he was great in the interview, and I thought, as usual, people are trying to trip him up. People
don't understand nuance.
Nuance.
See, this is the danger for a politician like Mamdani. He's incredibly astute. He's very articulate. He's very bright. He's very sharp. But sometimes, I hate to say it, and I hate to be rude to some Americans, I sometimes think quite a sophisticated political message won't land with huge swathes of even people who, if they really paid attention and understood what you were saying, would maybe support you.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If your thought and your idea is slightly too complicated a thought, or nuanced, it's nuanced. Sometimes nuance doesn't translate to politics.
Well,
anyway.
We've gone right off the bulwark. We didn't realise that the total silence on everything.
Well,
to do
tacit,
with
complicit
but
support
I
of
still
Israel.
watch some of them though, because it is important. It's like you always say, it's really important to watch people that you don't agree with as well, because otherwise we're all in a bloody echo chamber, aren't we?
Yeah, well, it was the Telegraph that delivered me all of my cannibal migrant story.
Unbelievable.
Quite something. Anyway, so there you go. There's the situation in America, and yet another atrocity in Gaza, and we wake up every morning to a new atrocity. So God only knows what tomorrow brings.
Well, please go to my Instagram account and share the post that I've done tonight for Children Not Numbers. It's just so important. It's just, I can't stress enough how to be a mother and to be a baby, well, to be anyone in Gaza at the moment is hell, but really pregnant mothers and mothers that have just given birth and newborn babies are just really, really suffering. So if you can share my post, it would be amazing.
I just want to share also, Joy Duncan, you do say Mamdani's mother is in fact Mira Nair. You're right.
Yeah.
She directed Salam Bombay, which was nominated for the Best Foreign Picture Academy Award. I remember seeing it. And interestingly, one of the takedowns that a lot of the American press are using with Mamdani is Nepo boy, Nepo kid, and all this. Hang on a minute. Yeah, but like someone made I think it was Scaramucci on LBC yesterday, said, you can't get a bigger Nepo boy than Trump. But isn't it interesting how, again, the exceptionalism and the double standards?
But we're in a world now. I used to prefer it when there was cover-ups. But now nobody bothers to cover up. Everybody just says it outright, and it's awful because we're just having to see everything with the curtains open.
Well, because also people say it and they just stand there and look at you, don't they?
Yeah. What you can do about it, and nobody does anything about it, and so it's worse. I'll bring back the cover-ups.
Or, and I'm not advocating violence, or you slap back.
He doesn't mean literally.
No, I mean metaphorically. With a kipper.
We do have to.
With a kipper or something like that.
But anyway, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. As you say, it's just me and Mark here. That's why sometimes we haven't got all of the things we'd like to, because we haven't got time to read them all and sail across. I really want to read that declassified report, though. Don't you?
No, I just think what's fascinating is that in the public realm, we are allowed to know the extent to which the government is essentially holding back intelligence and information that's crucial to making a decision. It's not seen as important to the judgment they've made today, and yet we're allowed to know it.
It's weird. Do watch. If you saw my stories, I put a James O'Brien video up from LBC this morning. I've just put a link. You can click straight through it. He was great. He was really good today on saying people are going to go to other places for their information. You know, he said, you know, BBC, the way, did you hear all the bit about the 2 stories that were up? One
Yes,
about
yes,
Gaza,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
He was so good.
Incredible.
Wasn't he?
One was this cafe and the other was the fucking...
But they were both, but they have both had
Bob
sort of
Dylan.
similar
Emphasis.
levels of emphasis. Who is in charge of all this at the BBC, guys? Because it's so obvious.
And yet the Zionist lobby groups would have you think the BBC is anti-Israel.
Oh, come
This is how
on.
fucked up the
It's
whole thing
so
is.
Every
It's
time they
such
do
a
that, we want to
joke.
laugh. Guys, do not forget. I know we keep reminding you, but it's so important.
Tomorrow night. 10
Gaza Doctors Uncovered. I'm not sure what it's called. The documentary that BBC tried to shelve. Channel 4 have bought it. We all need to watch it together.
So
and then we're
be
going to
reviewing
do
that at 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
more than a review. It will be then a discussion afterwards, I think, because often with these sorts of shows, people really want to have a chat about what they feel and think about it. So,
and we'll see you at 10:45 tomorrow for Coffee Moaning. Bye, guys.
10:45.
10:45.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.